Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. We're here on Mucking Fonday. Did you have a good weekend? I hear it was both stormy and hot in some places, and well, it was freezing cold where I live, so I didn't have a good weekend because I was like, why is it cold? Why am I wearing a long sleeve shirt in July? I don't know. Either way, even if your whole weekend wasn't good, I hope you are at least not doom scrolling, because that's what Mucking Fonday is for. This is the first international, I literally forgot my intro. First and only international game show Before Coffee, a father and daughter news podcast where we look up our stories right before the show starts. We just got Caffeine Antibodies, and we're learning to read and speak live on stream. Let's get into those mucking headlines and spin that segue wheel. Today on Mucking Fonday. On July 4th in France, everyone marched against sexual violence. And no doubt close to 4 million euros in a museum robbery in France.
Greetings for Mucking Fonday, where we report on the super tycoon Bobby, which is made landfall in the U.S. Pacific Islands and Guam, and Trump fans get ripped off to the tune of $3.8 billion.
Ukraine strikes disable 43% of Russian refining capacity in our Ukrainian war update. Plus, ashes of Mount Etna hinders takeoff and landings at Catania Airport in Sicily.
And speaking of scams, we're up against forces that have all the money in the world. Erin Brockovich is going to talk about her battle against AI data centers.
And in my culture news, Turkey blocks cruise ship carrying 2,000 LGBTQ plus passengers. A furious Patty LuPone citing moral values.
Wow, and it's very sparse national days today. It's National, Fried Chicken Day. And National Air Traffic Control Day. So don't get your keyboards at the Air Traffic Control Tower full of fried chicken grease. It is Monday, July 6th, 2026 on Before Coffee.
I love when things don't load. All technical difficulties today.
My keyboard doesn't work. I can't clear this flight. Why? Oh shit, I had greasy old fried chicken. I forgot to wash my hands. Got it all over my keyboard. The Alt key is sticking.
Yeah.
The Alt key is just locked in. Sorry, go ahead.
I hate when my keys get sticky. Just kidding. Yeah. I clean my keyboard regularly.
Yeah. This is why you should never eat at work. You should just go home and never return to work.
That's my controversial opinion. I think we should go back to the quarantine when people were just like, wait a minute, you don't need to come into the office. You can just stay home. We can still get work done.
Some jobs just prove
But we don't know if they're actually working the whole time, and we're still paying them hourly.
Right.
There's still money. Anything to wage staff. Corporations will do anything to wage staff.
They're not even getting the money. They're not even getting the money you waste commuting every day. Let me fill up my tank so I can drive 60 miles round trip to do a job I can do at home. Makes no sense. You're absolutely right about that. There's plenty of jobs where you have to be there, like a janitor or whatever. You have to be there. Teacher. Teachers can do on internet stuff, but hands-on learning is better than internet learning, and it ain't even close. I don't know why anybody thinks that's a actual substitute for actual experience. It's not. I'd just say hands-on is the only way to learn anything. You're gonna fuck up at your job anyway.
I did see people who enjoyed the internet learning. Of course, internet.
There's plenty of things you can do on the internet
way before quarantine happened.
Right. There's plenty of things you can learn on the internet. I'm not dismissing it as not a tool, but it's just part of a toolbox. It's just part of the overall. It
really just depends what you're learning about. Like my
world, education of the world.
I would say my film degree, which was all online, it was only 1 year, but it was a master's degree. That was completely fine without needing to go into a class because we just watched films and talked about them. There's no practicality.
It's really hard to know what you missed. And how do you even know what you missed? You might have missed anything. I don't even know.
I'm saying with that degree, I don't think I missed any practicality. There was no practicality in it. It was all theoretical.
You missed the social aspect of it. That's what you miss, and you don't know what you miss. Like I'm saying, if you didn't do something, how would you possibly know what it was like?
Well, I knew what it was like in my bachelor's degree compared to my master's degree, which were the same place. You
can't re-enter that portal of that time at a different angle and do different things. It's already that die's been cast. Right? There's no way to know. In other words, there's no way to know. It's like, how would the world be if Hitler wasn't born? There's no way to know. So, anyhow, let's do a hypothetical about everything.
Our first segue today is... Tell us.
First thing I do is lose my pen. I'm just sitting here. What do we get?
Tell the joke.
My coffee.
It'd be an interesting thing to tell a joke about. Because the first story I have is about marching for sexual abuse against sexual violence in France.
Oh boy.
So this is on Liberation by more than 60 artistic personalities. That seems like something that was translated from French.
Artistic personalities. What the hell is that? Autistic?
Artistic. Nearly 60 personalities from the world culture, including, I think it's celebrities, so I think it means celebrities. I think they translated the French word for celebrities into personalities. Nearly 60 celebrities from the world of culture, including Vanessa Springora, Flavie Flamet, or Vincent Dillerim, are calling for demonstrations to support the victims and tell politicians that they have no choice but to act by introducing a full law to protect women and children. And men, by the way, very underreported sexual abuse to men, too. Basically, humanity is suffering from sickos who do sexual abuse, and we need to, I don't know what we need to do, but we need to change something in society so that they stop doing it, or don't do it as much. People have long believed the worst is behind us, that the Me Too movement, finally, the victims are going to talk, that they were going to listen to them, and that then everything would change. Then the months and years passed, always the same stories, always the same rankings without a follow-up, always the same mechanics. Politicians clear themselves, responsibilities are diluted, victims pay the price of silence while the aggressors continue with impunity. The cup is full. Full of alerts that no one responds to, full of professionals who want to act but who are denied the means, full of children who didn't want to believe, full of protected mothers who fight alone, full of the women who everyone always suspects even when they are the victims. For 4 weeks, however, something extraordinary has been happening. Every Monday, everywhere in France, thousands of people gather in unprecedented mobilization, bored of an immense pain but carried by even greater hope. Finally transformed the indignation into political change. And this mobilization has already won its first victory. For months, they were told that a comprehensive law against sexual violence against women and children was impossible. Today, the government is committed to examining it at the beginning of the school year. This is a historic stage, but it will only be a victory if this law lives up to its ambition. They want a law that saves lives, not a bill of display. A law with resources which invest in prevention, training, accompanies victims with dignity, recognizes psychotrauma, and protects before it's too late. A few months before a high-tension presidential election, it cannot be a question of closing the debate with an empty shell. On July 4th, they will walk for victims. Well, on July 4th, they did walk for victims and survivors, those who live with the consequences of the violence every day, for those who are still waiting for justice, for those who are no longer there. They marched for Liana and for children whose lives violated and stolen to remind the price of inaction. But they will also work for a certain idea of society. Because a society that challenges the foundation of patriarchal violence, domination over women and children, protects everyone, protects all those who one day need community, not to look away from the injustice and discrimination. On July 4th, everywhere in France, they walked with a simple requirement that the first victory is not the last, that the full law is ambitious, and may it be funded, let it be applied, and that things will finally change in life. So, I guess that's what I'm reading. What I'm reading is like the original big celebrity outpouring. Like, this is our letter to the people. So they called on writers, artists, scientists, sportsmen, magistrates, lawyers, doctors, teachers, associative leaders, elected officials, businesses, and all citizens to do what they do and march. Because there are times when history changes, times when you can't agree, when you have to be present, moments when walking becomes a way to tell the victims they are no longer alone, and to the political leaders that they have no choice but to ask. And then a bunch of people were signed this letter, which like I said, 60 personalities, artistic personalities, signed this letter about the march. I do want to see if there's any actual coverage about the march. But, like if they said 50 million people turned out or anything like that. But it looks like maybe here. Let me translate. Oh, I didn't want, that's not a translate, that's reading mode. Yeah, they joined up at 3:30 p.m. local time at the Place de Bastille. A ton of people. They also marched for the rape and murder of Liana 11th and Gers. This is intended to rely on indignation aroused by the death of a middle school girl and recalls their request for the integral framework law demanded since the end of 24. Gatherings were announced in 80 cities such as Agen, Dijon, Bordeaux, and Rennes. In Paris, the march started at, we already said that, at 3:30. They want a bill of 78 measures tabled at the end of 2025 by the Socialist deputy Céline Thibault-Martinez and co-signed by hundreds of deputies, mainly from the left, excluding LFI and the government coalition. Since Liana's death, the coalition has been organizing rallies every Monday. More than 340,000 people have signed an online petition for the law. It does not say how many people showed up on the actual march this July 4th. The coalition now claims 160 organizations, including CGT, Association for the Defense of Migrants, People with Disabilities, or LGBT+. 30 recently joined them, such as FCPE, Parents of Students, and the Collective Parents of SOS Périscolaire. In the wake of the tragedy, the government announced measures to fight against child crime, some of which are inspired by associations. Some have been included in the draft law on the protection of children, which is to be examined in the National Assembly chamber on July 15th. Others added to the text on criminal justice and also debated by deputies. The minister in charge of equality between women and men, Aurore Berge, said Wednesday, which would have been the 1st of July, that the government would receive parliamentarians in mid-July to arbitrate the measures that could include a future comprehensive law, the review of which is promised for its part in the fall. Despite these announcements, associations maintain their mobilization because they fear the government will retain only a part of the provisions put on the table. They demand the whole system with a budget to implement it, estimated at some 3 billion euros per year. So I kind of agree with that idea, right? Continue marching until you actually get the thing you're passing, because they might just pass one little law and say, now that'll shut them up. It's like, no, right. We're not going to shut up until we actually get everything we're asking for here. Not a tiny little law that might protect somebody out there. No, we want to have full protection.
Right.
But there's your story on what happened in France. After all the terrible things that have come to light.
I found one really bad pedophile joke. Want to hear it?
Go ahead.
The pseudonym for a Chinese statutory rape victim is way too young. There you go. There's your bad pun. Here's some celebrity jokes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Which celebrity is always ready for ice cream?
Which one?
We're talking about celebrities. Reese with her spoon. And Here's another terrible pun joke about celebrities. Tom Hanks is the rudest celebrity I've ever met. I asked for his autograph, and all he wrote was "thanks." Anyway, that's a terrible joke. All of them. I apologize.
All right, my next story is
I only
coming
did it because of the wheel.
Yeah,
the will of the wheel is the strongest there is. The will of the wheel.
This will be easier thing to make jokes about, and plenty of puns, because about 4 million euros have been robbed from a museum in France. The thieves broke in around 5:30 in the morning in the place dedicated to the jeweler glassmaker of Art Nouveau and Art Deco, located in Wingen-sur-Moudor. The establishment will be closed into the coming days in order to provide for a serene and safe reopening, the management has said. This is on Liberation with AFP. The Glass Museum La Ligue in Alsace announced this Sunday, which would have been the 5th of July, that it had been robbed, the criminal or criminals having stolen for a few million euros of jewelry, according to a source close to the investigation. About 20 jewels were stolen. The damage is being estimated, but could reach a few million euros, probably close to 4 million, the source said. As a result of the burglary, the establishment will be closed in the coming days in order to provide a serene and safe reopening, said on social media networks in the management of this establishment located in Wingen-sur-Moudor, Bas-Rhin. The thieves, or thief, broke into this museum dedicated to the jeweler glassmaker of Art Nouveau and Art Deco, René Lalique, 1860 to 1945, by breaking in. That's how that works. They headed directly to the jewelry room. The source close to the investigation detailed, an alarm has been triggered, but by the time the surveillance company raises doubt, it is a housekeeper who arrived first on the scene who called it in the gendarmerie. It added. Video surveillance images are being used. The investigation was entrusted to the Criminal Investigation Cell of the Bas-Rhin Gendarmerie Group. Considered a sensitive site, the La Ligue Museum had the object of special attention since the resounding burglary of the Louvre Museum in Paris in October of 25. There was a protective device, but not enough, the source close to the investigation said. Opened in 2011, the La Ligue Museum is located near the factory of the same name. Installed since 1921 on the Alsatian slope of Vosges, it exhibits on a 90-meter squared of René Lalique's glass creations. And that's all I have for a story. Obviously, it just happened on Sunday, so they're going to be investigating it for a while to figure out who and what and how and all the things.
Those are just some bad jokes, man. I'm sorry I couldn't think of anything. I went to the internet and oh my, they're not even funny. Let's see. Bank robber's mask falls off during a heist. That's about hating your wife. That's a funny joke.
The boomer jokes. Hate my wife. I'm hilarious.
Oh, here's the English grammatical joke, right? I before E, except for when you run a weird heist on a feisty, foreign, overweight neighbor wearing beige. There you go. There's your English lesson. It was all those things
that was very complicated.
Yeah, it says I before E, except after C, and every one of those is not. And so it's a dumb rule. It doesn't exist. I heard that list late in life, like when I was like in middle school, right? I before E, is that a thing?
Exceptions.
That's not a thing. Full of exceptions. It's all exceptions. This doesn't even make any sense. You can't use it in a spelling bee because it doesn't exist.
I think it depends if you're using a French loan word or a German loan word, because a lot of English is loan words. I suppose.
The derivation was very important in all words. As a matter of fact, that's the best key to learning how to spell words because they have rules in certain languages. And what's his name? Noah Webster did not try to straighten out other languages. He just tried to Americanize them. So you would just take their frickin' IE wherever it laid and just take away the extra letters. Like German has way too many extra letters. Way too many, right?
I don't know. I have no opinion on
It's
this.
like they invented dye or something when they use all that extra dye on letters, something like that. I think the Germans invented all the different colored dyes.
Our next segue is
Okay,
accurate metaphor or simile.
accurate metaphor. I have, I guess, 2 stories are not very long. My third story is longer. Let's talk about the typhoon, which is a timely news. Euronews.com has a story: major damage to Super Typhoon Bobby makes landfall. Is it Bobby or Babby? I don't particularly care. I'm listening to a guy who's reading a book, and he says drama instead of drama, which I've never heard drama in my entire life, except in Boston, not in Boston. The guy said drama over and over again. So I guess you can pronounce things the way you were brought up to pronounce them. So Super Typhoon Bobby, which makes sense to me, B-A-V-I, makes landfall in the U.S. Pacific Islands. Big damn ocean out there, and this typhoon found some land. Out of all of that open water, it found some land. Super Typhoon Bobby made landfall Monday over the tiny U.S. territorial island of Rota in the Western Pacific near Guam, bringing in powerful winds and torrential rain to the Northern Mariana Islands. The reason we have these are U.S. possessions is because it's Japanese island hopping campaign to after Pearl Harbor. United States Navy had to go island to island across the Pacific, and it took 4 years. A cyclone becomes a super typhoon when it is maximum sustained winds of 241 kilometers per hour or stronger, equivalent to a high-end Category 4 or Category 5. That's really 241. There ain't much point in being outside during that. Authorities on Rota said they had received reports of major damage as winds up to 290 miles per hour were forecast. 290 is fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry. 200 kilometers per hour, which ain't 290 miles per hour. So I'm in my brain, I'm thinking, oh my God, but it's actually kilometers. So let's do a conversion of that somewhere and get it. It's 5/9 of that. I know that. So it's going to be around not quite half, probably about 130 or 140 miles per hour, which ain't nothing to sneeze at. And even if you did sneeze, it would come
it says
right
here
back
180. 290 kilometers is 180.
Okay. That's really strong. The tornado goes about 200 miles an hour. We were hanging in there.
Specifically for science, you do 2.9. It's you wanted for math. Sorry, it's 2.9. It's double plus some extra.
Oh, that's the inverse.
Divided by 2. Yeah. Divide by 2 and then add some extra. Yeah. 2/3. Add 2/3.
We're hanging in there. We're experiencing heavy winds and flooding here. Some people are already reporting major damages. These islands are just archipelagos. They're out in the middle of nowhere, volcanic, probably, in all likelihood. Rosario added that some cell phone service was down to a fallen tower, which they probably ain't got a lot of those. The National Weather Service urged residents on X. That's another thing that went out the other night in the storm. My internet went out, which is terrible. No internet, holy shit, I got no power. I can't even watch my stupid garbage on the internet. I hate that shit. At least I've got cell phone. I don't. I don't have cell phone coverage. And then it would go out and come back in and whatever. Anyway, back to the story. The National Weather Service urged residents on X to treat those imminent extreme winds as if a tornado was approaching and move immediately to an interior room or shelter. Now, they say in all caps with an exclamation point. Previously, the National Weather Service had warned that the direct hit on Rota would make most of the island uninhabitable for weeks, perhaps longer. Many non-concrete, non-reinforced homes will be destroyed with total roof failure and wall collapse. We're telling you, you can't stay in your house. Please, 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 please go find a shelter. I don't know. There got to be island shelters somewhere, right? There has to be some big old gymnasium where everybody can stay in, at least until this thing blows over above the water level. That's what they usually do in
Japan.
Nearly all trees will be snapped or uprooted and power poles down. Why do you have power poles? Why don't you just bury them? I guess it's because of an island.
Same reason America does.
Yeah, but it's a little island. It couldn't be that much. Well, it's time to bury them now because they've all been blown down. Fallen trees and power poles will isolate residential areas. Power outages will last for weeks, possibly months. Time to get there with a bunch of generators, everybody. Bobby posed an imminent danger to life. Weather Service meteorologist Edwin Mutt-Vila said, with the Weather Service telling residents across the islands to move in interior rooms and stay away from windows. Entering outside can result in death from flying. Entering outside? Isn't that kind of a oxymoron? You can't enter outside. Okay. Can result in death from flying projectiles. Utility poles and associated power lines will be down. It's just let us know the wind's going 180 miles an hour is enough to me keep me inside. In addition to Rhoda, Typhoon, and flash flood warnings are in effect to Guam, Tinian, and Saipan. These are all. I don't know about Rhoda. I know Tinian and Saipan were big major battlefields. While tropical storm warnings and watches were in place with other islands in the area, the Weather Service said the storm could bring at least 51 centimeters of rain by the time it passes through the region. 51 divided by 2.5 is what? It's damn, that's 20 inches of rain. Holy shit. Northern Mariana, that's an official nautical term. Holy shit. That is really. The Northern Mariana Islands and nearby U.S. territory of Guam are collectively home to 210,000 people. Oh my! Some of the islands were still reeling from
really
a previous typhoon.
When there's not a typhoon, I guess.
That hit the region in April. Many people living in Saipan, nearby Tinian, have been without power since Super Typhoon. A lot of these islands are disappearing slowly under the Pacific Ocean too. That's another thing to keep in mind.
Thanks, climate change.
They're going to need to be permanent refugees because everything's going to be underwater. And I'm sure this isn't going to help. All this tidal surge is going to weaken a lot of seawall, if they have any. When the Sinlaku hit the island group, it caused widespread devastation, ripping off roofs, toppling trees, and leaving tens of thousands without power. This is just standard typhoon. Not giving a fuck what your plans are. Never will care. You were going to have a picnic today. It's been canceled, and so has summer. So that's your update on the hurricane, typhoon, which is in the Eastern Hemisphere is called a typhoon. We call it a hurricane. So it's the same thing. Turns the other direction.
Yeah, but I guess that's the only reason you did change them, because it does turn the other direction. I guess that's why they're called something different.
I think it turns the other. I might be totally wrong. I've been in one typhoon in Japan, and all I got was really, really high humidity, even more than usual. And it was in like February or something too. It was no. It was late. It was late summer. That's right. It was late summer. Anyway, let's have us in here.
Typhoons and hurricanes are both types of tropical cyclones, but they are known by their different names depending on their location. Hurricanes spin counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere, while typhoons rotate in the same direction in the northern hemisphere. But then they can spin clockwise in the southern hemisphere. And this is all tied to the Earth's rotation, specifically to the Coriolis effect, which influences wind patterns across the globe. There you go. This when a hurricane can be switching or can be spinning counterclockwise, but for some reason when it crosses over the equator, it starts spinning the other way because the wind starts
Neil
spinning
Young's
it.
metaphor says,
Neil Young? What?
Neil Young, the Neil Young song. You are like a hurricane. You are like a hurricane. There's calm in your eyes. And then he talks about getting blown away. You know, it's a great song. And it's got a great guitar solo.
I never, I don't know if I know that song.
Oh, you got to listen to it. Like a Hurricane. Live version with Crazy Horse. Yeah.
Yep, those typhoons in the Pacific are being tempestuous dancers.
Yeah. Accurate metaphor. And I got another story. Let me get some applause here.
Tempestuous dancers. Get it? It's also a pun.
What the heck?
It's tempest. A tempest. Yeah.
Believe me, I'm trying to work the soundboard, but it just don't want to cooperate. There we go. Oh, I hit cricket. There you go.
It's not that funny.
I know, but Oh, well, it's Monday. Okay, our next story. I've got a short one about stupid people. And our next two stories, my next story is about scam, people getting scammed. And these people that got scammed, at least we can laugh at them. This might even qualify as good news for me because dumb people got ripped off, which is usually what happens with dumb people. They're just sitting around going, "I've got money. Let me give it to an idiot." You know. TechCrunch.com has a story. Trump meme coin investors lost $3.8 billion. Did you have $3.8 billion to lose? I sure as fuck don't. I don't have any money to lose, but I guess these morons thought, hey, Trump, he's such a
Pump
great
and dump, pump and dump, pump and dump.
Exactly. And Trump and his cronies and his family laughed all the way to bank at you stupid suckers. You are suckers. It's bad enough being a sucker. It's even worse when you want to admit you're a sucker because you continue to do the same thing. It's called insanity, folks. Nearly 1 million people. That's right. Nearly 1 million people have lost a total of $3.8 billion after buying Sticky the Clown's $ Trump meme coin, according to cryptocurrency analytics firm Nansen. The New York Times reports that Nansen's analysis is based on transactions that are publicly visible on the blockchain, showing that 988,905 accounts have lost money on the meme coin as of the end of June. That represents around 2 out of 3 $ Trump buyers. That's what it says. It says $ Trump. If you see Trump on something and that triggers your mechanism in your brain to spend money, you're mentally ill. I'm sorry, you are mentally ill. You should not have any money. On Sunday, $ Trump was trading at $1.69. That's right. You can get one Trump coin for $1.69. Would you like to know what the high it was buying for? Do you want to know what these suckers out there were paying for it at its high? Would you like to know that? I'll bet you
10.
would. Oh, you got to go higher than that.
Oh, that's really bad.
Yeah, 10%.
10% increase
You don't want to go higher.
bad. No,
I kind of want to play this game now. I would like to see you just keep going higher until you get it right. You don't want to.
Do that. I would like to go through the
I
story.
think it's amusing. It's amusing. It's hilarious. This is hilarious that stupid people gave their money away. 75-35 people were buying this. Imagine, I bought 100 shares of Trump's meme coin, $750. Now it's worth what? What is it worth? What's 100? $169. So it's 7,500. 7,500. I bought 100 shares, $75. $7,500. I've turned it now into $169. That's okay. Let's do it another way. If you bought 1 million shares, you would have about $75 million, and it would be worth now $1 million. That's just, 75 to 1. That's the ratio we're looking at here. It's almost 70 to 1, let's say. Trump announced the meme coin 3 days before his inauguration. He previously co-founded a crypto startup, World Liberty Financial, with his idiot sons, the Uday and Kusei. The $WLFL FI coin has also declined significantly in value. Of course, everything Trump touches dies. In recent financial disclosure, the president revealed he's not the president. He's just some clown living in the White House. Revealed that he made $636 million from the Trump meme coin, accounting for nearly half of the $1 billion that this pile of shit has made from crypto industry this year. Once again, it is illegal for the president to make money from his office. It's called the Emoluments Clause. It is an impeachable offense, and he needs to be impeached immediately. Under the Trump administration, the Securities Exchange Commission, which barely exists anymore, has said it will not regulate meme coins as securities and has dropped the number of lawsuits against cryptocurrencies. Another scam by the criminal in chief. So I don't know what to say anymore. Trump supporters are creeps and losers, and they just keep doing stupid crap that only hurts them. And if you're buying something for $75 and it's worth $1.69 and you continue to support the person who sold you that, you are stupid. You're beyond stupid. You were like, most people will go, oh, I got ripped off. I hate that guy who ripped me off. Not Trump fans. They're like, oh, he's so clever the way he ripped me off. That's what they are. Oh, Daddy ripped me off again. Them boots taste great. I'm sorry. Let's have an accurate metaphor. Now that I've just blown 3 of them out of the water, right? You have a metaphor about bootlickers.
Hump and Dump is like a carnival ride that lifts eager thrill seekers to dizzying heights, only to drop them into an empty pit. They're still alive. They didn't get killed. They kind of wish they were dead, but they're still alive. For the most part.
There are no limits to human stupidity. As I think Einstein directly quoted, there are 2 things that are infinite: the universe and human stupidity, and I'm not so sure about the universe. So
that might be one of those false quotes that they say Einstein said.
Maybe he didn't say it. I said it anyway. That should count for something.
Time.
Yeah, that's right. Frig it. Like Abe Lincoln said, everything I said on the internet is not necessarily true. Abe Lincoln said that. All right, that's another direct quote.
All right, okay. It looks like you're going to have to do an accurate metaphor assembly.
Okay.
For my stories, I have 2 here. The first one is coming out of the Ukrainian war, in which they have said, this is from the Kyiv Post, so reminder, it is from the Ukrainian point of view, that 43% of Russians' refining capacity has been disabled. Systematic strikes by Ukrainian defense forces have successfully disabled 42.7% of Russia's total projected oil refining capacity as early as July 26, according to the statement from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The military assessment highlighted that the campaign has reached new operational milestones over the past month alone. 8 Russian oil refineries were successfully attacked. The strikes have destroyed or critically damaged over 60 storage reservoirs, 58% of which contain petroleum products and 42% crude oil. The total financial loss for the Russian refining industry since August of 25 are estimated at $13.5 billion. The General Staff noted that the drastic reduction in capacity has resulted in a severe domestic fuel crisis, a sharp decrease in fuel production, and continuous delays in facility repairs due to the lack of available replacement parts and equipment under international sanctions. Reuters estimates that Russia's overall fuel production fell by 25%. And reminder, this is economic percents, which means 25 is a lot. You don't want that. Year on year in June, and is currently running approximately 20% below domestic demand, as in they might run out, right? They're gonna have to start buying gas and oil. Of Russia's largest refineries, only the Omsk refinery, which has an annual processing capacity of 22 million metric tons, has reportedly avoided recent strikes and is operating at full capacity. Wow, thanks, Kyiv, for giving the next target, I guess. The 43% reduction in refining capacity has triggered localized fuel crises across more than 50 Russian regions. Local media reports indicate the select gas stations have implemented tiered access, prioritizing government officials, state employees, and emergency services. In Saratov, journalists observed vehicles belonging to district administrators and the Russian Post receiving priority refueling at Rosneft station. Kyiv Post tracked down the deals with real money behind them and found more than the government officially announced. In the Irkutsk region, Governor Igor Kobyzev declared the state of high alert due to insufficient fuel shipments. Police and National Guard units have been deployed to filling stations to direct traffic, manage queues, and enforce a ban on filling external canisters. The fuel shortage has also heavily impacted the freight sector. Russian businesses daily Kommersant reported the logistic companies are struggling to secure diesel, particularly along the transport routes to China. Daily driving distance has increased from 600 to 700 kilometers to approximately 500 kilometers due to refueling delays, consequently driving up freight rates. So they have to pay more for transport and their logistics. As the domestic fuel deficit grows due to diminished refining capacity, Russia has increased its reliance on imported petroleum products. In response, Ukraine is discussing a new sanction mechanism with the European Commission aimed at discouraging third countries from exporting gasoline and other fuels to Russia. Vladislav Valsyuk, Ukraine's presidential sanctions commissioner, stated that while Russia's fuel exports are heavily restricted by Western sanctions, its new reliance on imports presents a vulnerability. Valsyuk indicated that discussions regarding a sanction-related response are underway as part of a preliminary work on the European Union's 22nd sanctions package. Russia has begun importing gasoline from India by sea, with at least 60,000 metric tons shipped and 2 additional tankers en route. Moscow has also secured agreements for 50,000 tons of gasoline from Kazakhstan for July and August, while Russian Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak recently stated that Russia is importing 100,000 to 150,000 metric tons per month from Belarus. Can't stop anything about Belarus. The latest capacity assessment following a series of coordinated drone strikes on Russian energy and industrial facilities on July 4th, in St. Petersburg, multiple fires were reported at the St. Petersburg oil terminal, a major facility with an annual processing capacity of 12.5 million tons. Drone debris also struck the port of Vyosk, which housed a Lukoil terminal. Simultaneous strikes in Belgorod targeted local power infrastructure, including the Luk terminal power plant and a substation at the Michurinskaya gas turbine terminal power plant, resulting in widespread electricity and water outages. The weekend's attacks coincided with the interception of 16 drones approaching Moscow and followed a confirmed Ukrainian strike on the Lukoil Nizhgorodneft Organitsitse refinery in Kustovo, Russia's second largest gasoline producer. So there's some good movement on the front, so to say, against, Russia's number one income source, and also putting putting pressure on the morale of Russian citizens who are like, "Oh, the war's not affecting me." Well, now it is, bitch. Now it is.
And Russia, one of those countries that's not doing a whole lot for the carbon footprint. They'd rather just burn oil and start wars.
Money.
Accumulate wealth for their short-term gain. That's one of them things. They're burning carbon, as we know. Carbon, and this is my metaphor, carbon is like the most promiscuous of all the elements. It just latches on to anything because it has 4 valence electrons and it's very free and easy. It uncouples from oxygen, it recouples with oxygen, it does all of this free and easy, and it just floats up to the atmosphere and traps a bunch of heat like a giant blanket. Big blanket of carbon trapping our heat, infrared heat, which is generated by the sun reflecting off Earth. Anyway, the long definition is not a metaphor, so I'll stop there.
My next story is coming out of Sicily, I believe, Italy, at least Italy, in which there has been a volcanic eruption. Ashes are hindering takeoff and landings at Catania Airport. At the weekend, as so much of ash escaped from the crater of Mount Etna that the airport in Catania had to restrict its operation. This is on Der Spiegel. Due to the ash cloud over the volcano Etna, air traffic in Catania Airport on the Italian Mediterranean island of Sicily is currently only possible to a limited extent. According to the airport operator company SAC, the airspace in the area of the south-moving ash cloud was severely restricted until 7 p.m. That applies to both departures and landings. Travelers were asked to check the status of their flight with their respective airline before arriving at the airport. According to the Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology, INGV, the ash began to escape from the opening of Etna in early morning. Early morning of when? They didn't say what day. They're just saying, I'm guessing on the 5th. Yeah, so early morning on Sunday is when it started, and then the airport was restricted until 7 p.m. The activity intensified and formed an eruption cloud that rose about 1.5 kilometers above the summit. According to the current weather forecast, the ash will continue to carry south in the coming hours, the INGV said. Oh, good, it's going south. I'm just saying if it was going north, I would have to close, like, everything because I can't breathe ash. It will, as can be seen on the website of Catania Airport, several flights were canceled, including a connection to Berlin. Other machines could start late. Others had to be delivered to Palermo. Like, sorry, you're going to have to divert your entire everything to somewhere else. See if there's anything else about this, about Mount Etna, because this is just a specific thing about the airports being closed. Yeah, it just says it erupted again. This was on the June 30th even, so I guess it's been erupted since June 30th, but now the ash is coming out. Yeah, so I guess this is like the aftermath. It's one of the world's most active volcanoes, with eruptions taking place several times a year and sometimes even within a month. On Friday, the National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology, which monitors volcanoes in Italy, reported that the lava had started to flow on Etna's eastern side. And so it would have been Friday before the 30th, of June. Friday, the 26th of June, I guess, is when it originally started. So it's still kind of erupting over this whole time. The latest eruption occurred. Oh no, it just keeps on occurring. So it's actually been just erupting this entire week, entire last week. It erupted on the 26th, and then it erupted again on the 29th, and it probably is erupting now again for a third time in the last week. I can't find anything about the current eruption, but yeah, rock gushed from it. An eruptive vent of altitude around 3,000 meters. Smoke was also spotted coming from the mountain. Of course, we all know that ash is now coming, so this is probably more like cool down, right? This is the cool down of the multiple eruptions that happened within the last week, and now it's just the
never
ash.
Gonna stop. Not gonna stop.
Like when you put out a fire and then you just have smoke for way after you put the fire out. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah, like the next 1,000 years, maybe, right?
Mm.
Volcano time isn't on a clock of any type.
Nope. That's my story.
That's not my metaphor. Yeah, this is my metaphor. Living by a volcano is like whistling past the graveyard. That's what it is. It's like, oh, that thing's never going to blow. You know? That's what they thought Pompeii.
Well, they didn't even know about volcanoes back then. That was
I knew Vesuvius was there.
They knew it was a mountain. They didn't know it was a volcano.
I have a story about Vesuvius and Pompeii tomorrow. I was not around to witness any of that, so
All
I
right,
don't have any.
let's roll our next segue.
I don't think anybody has any first-hand knowledge. Some people survived it, I'm sure.
Well, we actually talked about that the other day, that we did have, maybe like 2 weeks ago, we had found a journal in Pompeii that had first-hand knowledge.
Tomorrow, we got a story about Roman coins that were found, which is very...
Our next segue reminds me of a song.
One story, and it's about AI data centers, and we're talking about, of course, crypto is another thing that drives these data centers, because crypto has got to generate, I don't know, it's 72,000 character coin that's stored in a chip that it is whatever. Crypto's a ripoff. It's just a scam. It's all a scam, folks. Once you throw that money in there, there's no guaranteed return, and the people that are selling it to you are criminals. Just want to remind you, Trumpsters, you are suckers. You are. I don't know why you think you're not. Just accept it, learn from it, and move on. Make better choices. And on to this story, because everybody is against data centers. Liberals, conservatives, everybody looks at their electric bill and goes, what? I'm using less power. You guys put up 60 gazillion windmills. Why is my bill going up? TheGuardian.com has the story of Erin Brockovich, one of the world's most famous attorneys, simply because she had a movie made about her called Erin Brockovich, starring Julia Roberts. We're up against forces that have all, and by the way, she's a very popular talk show host guest. Or at least she was back when CNN was on the air as a decent news source. We're up against forces that have all the money in the world, Erin Brockovich. Yeah, people like Peter Thiel, who now has moved to South America for some reason. What's he up to? I mean, besides molesting children, what's he up to? Anyway, back to this story. Zoe Williams of The Guardian has a story. When Erin Brockovich woke to find 30 emails from people from the same town, she realized something was wrong. People email Brockovich all the time because what happened in 1993 when she was instrumental in suing Pacific Gas and Electric Company, or PG&E, on behalf of residents of the town of Hinckley, California, whose groundwater had been contaminated by huge utilities. Yeah, we should trust utilities, right? The people with a monopoly to provide us power that can raise their rates, seemingly at a whim. That's what they do. They're criminals. They're just straight up criminals. The case resulted in a settlement of $333 million, which is not enough to make up for all the people that died. Then the largest ever payout for a direct action lawsuit. Again, people live where they can live. They don't live where they choose to live. They don't go, oh boy, I'm picking up this piece of land that belongs to somebody else and I'll live here. No, they got to live where they can afford to live. And they put people in a poverty pocket and you give them shitty water and they die of cancer. And big corporations run all the way to the bank with their big piles of cash. In some cases,
they're helping make the pollution, right? Because the only job they can get is in a place that is causing the pollution.
Exactly.
You know,
I'm a janitor
and they don't even know it.
I love the data center. I'm a janitor making $10 an hour. You're a sucker. That's what you are. The emails she received a few weeks ago were about data centers. In April, she put out a call out on her website asking anyone concerns about one near them to get in touch. Within a month, 3,862 people have replied. Tech companies have needed data centers to build their technology forever, she puts in quotes, forever, she says. But the new ones being built to power AI? This feels like Hinckley on steroids. Of course, Hinckley was the town that was being polluted by the utility, and the utility going, people dying of cancer at 36? That's normal? What? I don't understand. That just seems like normal environmental shit. This isn't about AI, she says. The genie is out of the bottle. It's here. It's an effective tool. You can use it or not use it, Brockovich says, matter of fact. This is about a massive structures being built to house vast computing facilities AI requires. It doesn't require any of it. They're just trying to take over and monitor us and control us. These data centers, he says, stretch over hundreds and hundreds of acres. In May, Utah gave approval to a center twice the size of Manhattan. Yeah, that's a thing. And of course, Utah's been pissed about it ever since. The Utah citizens, sorry. Utah, get your head out of your asses. Stop voting for these oligarchs. I'm telling you, you dumb bastards. You might think they agree with your politics. They don't. They're a bunch of Epstein-class child molesters. Stop voting for them. Some of the emails Brockovich gets from people near data centers express genuine bafflement. Why did I know about this? How did this construction just start? Why am I now getting a notice from the city council that this is already passed when I didn't even have a voice in it? Others reflect concerns about the impact of the centers. What are our resources? What's happening to the water? Who's paying for all this energy? I'm going to foot that bill. What will the future impact on health be from these monstrosities? What's going to happen to the wildlife? From the emails, Brockovich built a map of significant AI data centers. There's a link to the map on this story. In the U.S., and either operational or under construction. It's overlaid with locations where community members have emailed in concerns. The open source document is chilling. As of June 24th, 33 AI data centers have been completed and are operational, 68 are under construction, and 48 are proposed. And there have been 7,005 reports submitted through the online forum, which is to say 7,000. Wow. All that is known about them is what people have seen. As a post on her Substack blog is headline, if data centers are so great, why are they being built in secret? That's a good damn question. It's happening in every U.S. state, multiple counties, rural areas, ranches, farms, and neighborhoods. People watch nature because they respect it and they need it. We're watching it being destroyed. She has heard from people saying, I'm concerned that this is where the bald eagles nest. I'm watching wildlife disappear. I'm seeing dead animals. Some communities learn about center months after it's been approved. Others don't hear anything about them and watch as a vast building emerges. Brockovich, who turned 66 this month, is speaking to me on a video call. She is sitting at a glossy, chunky desk of a type lawyer might use, and louver blinds behind her, revealing symmetrical striped server birds. Are we writing a novel here? Anyway, data center developers often enter into non-disclosure agreements with local officials, so it's not impossible to see why they were approved without environmental impact assessments or input from residents. Because money rules. Don't you understand, poor people? You're just there. You don't serve a purpose. You're just occupying land that we need. Poor people. Get out there and make babies so you can work our minimum wage jobs. I'm getting reports from people when their local leaders are changing zoning laws for this to happen, she says. Incredulous that anyone would bypass democracy to that degree. Welcome to fascism, dumbasses. You voted for it. All these places with this big open land, they all voted for this shit. They don't realize it, and they sit around and go, I'm going to vote for it again. And they will vote for it again because they're morons. They are morons. Don't forget, they're the same people that buy that crypto crap from Trump. You got to be a special kind of stupid to trust that guy. She does not believe this is a story of a sudden nationwide corruption or that local governments are setting out to stonewall residents. What I'm seeing now is that councils, having heard community responses, are trying to hit pause and then getting sued by the developers for 100 million plus. They cannot withstand that. In one case, Hill County in Texas, county commissioners not expecting the public outcry of a planned data center voted on a year-long moratorium. The county was then sued by the developers for 100 million in damages. Screw you, developers. Go to hell. First of all,
go
when
build houses.
The French-style revolution,
homeless people, assholes.
French-style revolutions happened. We're gonna take down the people, the private equity people. We're taking them heads off first. After the private equity people, and a lot of these are the same people, by the way, are real estate developers, the most unscrupulous bastards on the planet. Real estate developers. You want to know what they do? They come in your town.
I could use this land for something.
Come in your town and make promises, and they sell bonds. You know how they sell bonds? They put it on a ballot, and you don't even know what you're voting for, and you vote for it. And the next thing you know, there's a big, huge data center in your freaking neighborhood that was built by the bond that you voted for, and you're going to pay taxes. Tax-free municipal bonds. Tax-free municipal bonds are bought up by billionaires, right? And they're guaranteed return. Your taxes are going to pay billionaires their interest on those tax-free municipal bonds. You're welcome. You're welcome, those billionaires say as they run to the bank. Stop voting for bond issues in your town if you don't know what the hell they're for. People say they don't know what they voted for. You voted for it when you voted for a bond issue. You just didn't read the fine print. Always vote no on bond issues unless it's for a school or a library. End of diatribe. Let's have us a song.
The song this reminds me of is Jamiroquai's Virtual Insanity. The future's made of virtual insanity. Now all we seem to be governed by this love we have for useless twisting of our new technology. Oh, now there is no sound, for we all live underground. Which is where they want us. They want us all underground. The above areas for the billionaires. Trees are for billionaires. You go live in a cave.
Americans, let's unite under this one umbrella. No more data centers until we know what the hell they're for. And AI is the reason.
I think.
We've already got AI. I've got as much AI as I need. I have a stupid phone that gives me incorrect information all the time, and I got to correct it. I love it. I love the fact that he's so human that he understands he makes mistakes. Of course, he forgets it like he has Alzheimer's, but, you know, it's still human-like. That's all I need. I don't need an AI to. I'll use it as a research tool, but I still got to find out what the hell you just said and where's your link. I mean, it's like the next step up from Wikipedia, which gets stuff wrong all the time, right? But at least humans come and correct it. Nice song. Spin a wheel. Love my story. And it was long enough. Aaron Brockovich on the job, though. Long live Aaron Brockovich.
Mixed metaphor for my culture news.
Okay. I sent you video.
This is from Sean Kane on The Guardian. Broadway star Patti LuPone, who is performing on the vessel on a cruise ship, expressed shock after authorities banned Scarlet Lady from docking in Kusadasi, Turkey. A cruise ship carrying 2,000 LGBTQ plus passengers and the Broadway performer Patti LuPone has been blocked from entering Turkey after local authorities said their behavior didn't align with the structure of our society and our moral values. Virgin Voyages' Scarlet Lady set sail from Athens, Greece on the 5th of July for what was billed as an epic all-gay voyage over 10 days run by Atlantis, a U.S. company that puts on cruises and vacations for LGBTQ plus people. The Scarlet Lady was expected to dock in the Turkish port town of Kusadasi on July 7th, followed by a trip to Istanbul. And did they not clear this before going, or they didn't know? I don't know. This sounds like some middle manager government official was like, hey, I can control this not happening, so I'm going to use my power to stop it. But authorities in Turkey's Aydin province, where Kusadasi is, published a statement online saying that the cruise was chartered by groups known for behaviors that we do not align with the structures of our society and our moral values. So maybe Turkey allowed it, like the government allowed it, but the local authority didn't allow it. The ship's arrival had been cancelled after it sparked significant public concerns, they added. There's absolutely no possibility of the group in question visiting our province for an event of this nature. Well, they're going to Istanbul, not Kusadasi. That's just the nearest port. Atlantis has docked gay cruises in Istanbul and Kusadasi 13 times in the last 25 years. Yeah, what this sounds like to me, and this is just my theory, is there's some homophobe in the village or whatever, and it was like, didn't you hear a bunch of gays are coming here on Tuesday? And then he got a bunch of people, was like, we need to go yell at the government about the gays who are coming to, I don't know, do nothing to us and affect us 0% of our life and change anything in our town. And they got enough people to get the government angry, and then they decided to cancel it, even though, yet again, 13 times in the last 25 years, there have been gay people arriving on cruise ships. Rich Campbell, the president and chief executive of Atlantis Events, told the USA Today the 13 times in the last 25 years stat. LuPone, the 77-year-old Tony Award winner who was performing on the ship, took to Instagram to share a shock regarding the news Saturday, the 4th of July. The Atlantis cruise I am performing on next week has been banned from entering Turkey, she wrote. A magnificent ship, full of gay men and me, denied entry to Turkey simply because who is on board. I'm furious, but I am sailing as the ship will make other ports of call. I am ready to perform for all the wonderful men on the Atlantis cruise who deserve so much better than this. Campbell told CNN he was shocked by the decision and said it was the first time Atlantis had been actively told we would not be birthed here because of who we are in its 36-year history. Don't you know Pride is over? It's July now. You're not allowed to be gay anymore. This is a sarcasm.
Nah.
It's pretty stunning, to be honest, he said. I mean, the reasoning behind it is just that it's a gay group. It's very concerning to me when a country decides they can pick and choose which tourists are allowed in and which are not. It is very concerning. Just like immigration is concerning, right? Choosing which immigrants are allowed to enter. He told you today that the company had not been able to get the Turkish authorities moved despite extensive calls with the U.S. Embassy in Turkey. When we pull into port, the ship looks like any other ship, he said. It's not like we're not a gay pride rally, we're not a march, we're not an organization. We're not a political statement in any way. The crew, well, that's the problem with identity politics. Being gay is political. Just like being black is political, because unfortunately people make it a big deal. They make it political. Oh, you're gay, that means something about something, and I have to make a stop doing that. Government, do something. I don't feel safe. Whatever. The cruise was advertised a year ago. It's not a new thing. The ship will now stop in Cairo and Crete instead of Turkey. Representatives of the Turkish government have yet to comment on the matter. Homosexuality is not criminalized in Turkey, but homophobia is widespread. It's not illegal for them to go there. So it feels like that was a break of...
It's all homophobia. Yeah.
Another reason why Turkey can't join the EU, because they still have these kind of problems, right? You can't, as a government official, say you're not allowed to land here. If you were in the EU, that's against human rights, right? You're not allowed to land here because you're gay. That's against my human rights. You can't do that. Oh, yeah, you're right. It reaches even the highest levels of government, the homophobia, with President Recep Tayyip Erdogan regularly describing LGBTQ plus people as perverts and a threat to traditional family. You're the pervert if you're thinking about that kind of stuff, Erdogan. Istanbul Pride was once a lively... Yeah. Istanbul Pride was once a lively affair with thousands of marchers, but it has been banned each year since 2015 by Turkey's ruling conservative government. In 2000, the then tourism minister apologized after police prevented more than 800 gay tourists on a cruise liner from entering Kusadasi and the nearby Roman ruins at Ephesus. I hope they will complete their trip without any problems, Erkan Humsiu said. We cannot discriminate according to people's sexual preferences. And around 2015 is actually when Turkey's chance of joining the EU basically died. Around that time too. As soon as this current government got into power, which it's been 10 years now, 11 years now, maybe even longer, actually.
Mm-hmm. Most ironical.
Because they were super in, right? They wanted to be part of the EU, or they were driving for it. They elected some conservatives who hate everything and want Turkey to just be by itself, and that's where they are now.
What's that? Cognitive dissonance practiced by bigots constantly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that my cue to the story's over?
Yes, that's the end of the story. Sorry.
Okay. So
throat's getting dry from all this ranting.
Here's my mixed metaphor. That's what I wrote, right? Mixed metaphor. It's too bad Turkey can't ban men holding hands because, of course, we know that, well, it's very common. I don't know if it's common knowledge, but if you go to the Muslim world, men holding hands is very common. Two men, they're friends, walking down the street holding hands. Very common. I've checked this out on the internet, and I have lots of anecdotal evidence. Everybody I've ever met that's gone to the Middle East says, yeah, Muslim men hold hands. It's normal. And I guess they're just totally homophobic about it. Anyway, so they're not gay. They're just friends. They're holding hands. It's just a custom. I don't care what they do. I'm just saying they're full of shit. My mixed metaphor is, it's too bad Turkey can't ban men holding hands, but that ship has sailed.
Oh, dear. And of course,
that was a long way to go to it.
It's a whole argument of homoerotic versus homoromantic. But a lot of people like to call it, right? Men caring about each other, being physical with each other is homoromantic, but as soon as they start having sex with each other, there's a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. As I said, this is more than just anecdotal because everyone I have ever met, and I was in the military, you can put that on your bingo card, and I worked as a contractor, I don't know if that's a bingo card, with every branch of the military and everybody I've ever talked to, which is hundreds who have ever been to the Middle East, say, yeah, men hold hands. So that's not just, me just spouting off nonsense. These people are completely full of shit. And what do these sailors or Marines say or contractors say about it? They're all gay. That's what they say. They're all gay. They hold hands. They're all gay. They're all gay. So Turkey, on you. You're all gay. You're all gay. Get over it. You're all gay. You're all gay. You're all gay. You're just all gay, man. Get used to it. You're all gay. At least a little bit. Anywho.
Our next segue.
How do you like that one? You didn't like that?
That
Okay.
pun.
You didn't like that? I liked it. You know,
I did the
applause,
sound. You
nothing.
didn't hear my crouch here?
Oh, no, I didn't
I
hear
guess
it.
you're ranting too much that you didn't hear it, but I definitely applaud it.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought it was pretty poignant. I mean, it's like, what? How full of shit can you be when the entire Western world believes that you're gay for holding hands, and you're sitting there going, "Oh my God, people think we're gay. We better ban it completely." Homophobes are just the
Well, they didn't ban it completely. That's the joke. It's not banned at all.
They want to.
Yet they still broke the law by discriminating against them from landing at court. Or
Turkey,
I don't know if it's against law,
but
it's definitely discrimination.
Turkey doesn't want it. Well, at least they get new leadership, right? No. Anyway, this day in history. I'm sorry, what'd you spin? I was rapidly puns. You mad? Sound mad.
Me? No, I just would like to move on from the topic. So I can get the show finished, because we started the show an hour late, so.
Hey man, I ain't delaying nothing here. I had my stories pretty quick. On this day in history, we're going all the way back.
Attack. I'm just stating a fact that we started an hour late.
Say it was a personal attack. I didn't say that. I was just making a joke. 1415 on this day, religious reformer Jan Hus was burned at the stake. He criticized the church, anticipated the Reformation by more than a century. He was burned at the stake for heresy, which is whatever. Religious people are insane.
Made up reason to burn someone at the stake. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We don't like you anymore.
Insane.
Go die.
You challenged our doctrine. You're a witch. 1535 English humanist and statesman Thomas More. This is a great day for martyrs for religious nonsense. Another religious martyr. Yes, Thomas More was beheaded for refusing to accept King Henry VIII as the head of the Church of England, which we call Anglicans or Episcopalians.
Maybe that's why they did it on this day, because it was a famous heresy.
Yeah,
the Heresy Day.
That's right. It's Heresy Day, everybody. July 6th is Burn 'em and Chop 'em Off Day for the heretical Coloraders, or whatever they. 1777, one day after I need to take these glasses off. One day after American troops abandoned Fort Ticonderoga, which is a pencil company nowadays, and New York, British General John Burgoyne and his forces seized it, outraging the leaders of the American Revolution. So again, we're on Independence Day, but we hadn't even won the war yet, which I never understood as a kid, and I still don't understand it till this day. How is our independence declared in 1976 actually anything? We still had to fight a war for 5 years, and then we had to fight another one in 1812, and then the Civil War. It's kind of an overrated day, to tell you the truth. Nothing really fucking happened, except you pissed off the British even more than they were already pissed off. 1885, Louis Pasteur successfully tested the anti-rabies vaccine. Good luck with vaccines, Louis. Those are the good old days when we thought science could solve problems. Now we got morons on the internet who think they're smarter than science, and they keep telling us they are because, hey, they saw something that contradicted science on the internet. So there you go. That bypasses all scientific knowledge up until now, has been replaced by Brainworm Bobby and conspiracy theories about things that he invented in his head. Yay, progress. 1892, Nararoji, that's his name, I swear to you, won election to the House of Commons from the constituency in London, becoming the first Asian elected to the British Parliament. He had previously, in 1885, helped found the Indian National Congress. I did not mispronounce it. It's Bahai Nararoji. How's that a mispronouncement? I challenge you to prove that's a mispronouncement. Now, this might be, though. Frida Kahlo. It might not be your last name. I pronounced it wrong. You know, Frida, she was played by the actress, what's her name? I'll think of her name in a minute. Best known for intense,
Penelope
brilliant
Cruz?
colored self-portraits, was born. No, it was the other.
Oh.
The other Mexican actress. The other one, there's only two. Frida Kahlo, best known as her. She was born in Coyoacán, Mexico. Selma Hayek played her in the movie. 1928, first full-length, all-talking motion picture. Lights of New York premiered in New York City. Yes, talkies were born. That's sort of a heretical thing, right? Talking movies. Oh my God, it's the work of the devil. And Cecil B. DeMille was marched off the plank the very next day. No, that didn't happen. 1946, George W. Bush was born in New Haven, Connecticut. Oh, yeah, he's a Yale boy, isn't he? He was born right there at the foot of Yale University, where he went to Yale and became a skull and bones weirdo in a secret society where they rule the world to this very day. Part of the vast oligarchy of the United States, George Walker Bush became the president of the United States illegally in 2000 or early 2000. He became president of the United States in a coup staged by the state of Florida and his brother, who was the governor of Florida. 1957, Paul McCartney met John Lennon for the first time in another heretical event. Oh my God, blasphemy! They're bigger than Jesus! The bigger than Jesus.
Oh yeah, they got in big trouble for that.
Still, to this day, bigger than Jesus. Way bigger than Jesus. Way, there's four of them. There was only one. Or if you're really liberal, three of Jesus. But there was only one of Jesus. There's four Beatles. Actually, six Beatles if you count Stuart Sutcliffe and Pete Best. So they had the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, and the guy that brought the drinks. So they had four guys. All right. Paul McCartney met John Lennon for the first time in Liverpool, where it was kind of a apostle meeting type thing, where the latter's band was performing, and the dude would later form the Beatles, one of the most influential bands in history, and the leaders of my church. Just kidding. Again, I can make a church. Why can't I make a church?
Somebody said you couldn't.
Who says I can't make a church, right? There you go. I can make a church.
Nobody.
All hail the walrus! Thank you. Because John is the walrus. And then he later said the walrus is Paul. He passed it on. It's like the Dalai Lama. 1964... Nyasaland. This is a kind of comedy you can't get anywhere else, by the way. I promise you. 1964, here's your best pronunciation. Nyasaland broke from British rule and became the independent country of Malawi within the Commonwealth of Nations. Malawi, an African country that British were exploiting for their resources because, hey, we're Britain. We do that. 1995, Bosnian Serb forces began attack on Srebrenica. I remember this happening. I still can't pronounce it. Srebrenica, Bosnia and Herzegovina, ultimately killing more than 7,000. It is freaking Heretic Day. 7,000 Bosnian Muslim boys and men. Yeah, they were killed for their religion. Plain and simple. Massacre was worst episode of mass murder since World War II. Milosevic was put on trial for this. I think he died while he was on trial. So he cheated that would have been a nice execution. That would have been that would have been a nice execution. They had the Nuremberg trials, and then we had the one where we could have executed the guy, but he was awaiting trial, and he cheated the hangman. Maybe he took a capsule like Hermann Goering did. 2002, John Frankenheimer died in Los Angeles. He made the following movies: The Manchurian Candidate, Trump, The Manchurian Candidate, The Birdman of Alcatraz, which is actually where Trump should be, a Alcatraz type prison. Anyway, John Frankenheimer died this day, and he made his two biggest movies in 1962. Now that's Mel Brooks territory right there. The Manchurian Candidate and The Birdman of Alcatraz in 1962. That is something. Way to go, John Frankenheimer. Two very good movies. Dude knew what he was doing. So sorry he died in this day in 2002. Also in this day, Wimbledon is going on. at this very moment with, I think, America in the semifinals. And that's pertinent because Serena Williams defeated her sister Venus to win her first Wimbledon singles title on this day in 2002. So 21 years ago, they're both still playing. They're both still playing. How about 24 years ago? Serena retired. I believe she's coming back at some point, but Venus, I don't think ever retired. Anne Frank was forced into hiding. Again, Heretic Day. Oh my God, kill the Jews. They're all heretics. You know, Anne Frank was forced into hiding. Her family went into hiding in Amsterdam.
It really is Heretic today. It's the unofficial UN observance for heretics, I guess.
It must be. Yep. Beatles are heretics. Anne Frank's a heretic. Thomas More's a heretic. That first guy we talked about was burned at the stake. Anne Frank forced into hiding. My invisible man is better than your invisible man. Don't you even contradict my invisible man, because reasons I can't tell, because that guy over there said so. There you go. That guy with that uniform on. That guy looks official.
He knows way more than me. He's so smart.
Somebody on the uniform. Anybody in a uniform is telling you to do anything, he's a fascist. If it's a cop, he's a fascist. The only people you should listen to just offhand is maybe a fireman is while your house is burning down. That's about it. Most people are just, I want my life to be better. It'll be better if somebody just did everything I said. And that's how they become cops. Back to the story. Stop acting like people in uniforms are officially doing anything. They're just as likely a criminal as anyone else. Anyway, she lived in Amsterdam. She was turned in by families in Amsterdam that exist to this very day. And there was a story about that a few years ago. Somebody in Amsterdam is still alive to help turn her in. Wow. Still alive, you bastards. You should have left the country. Or the neighbors should have turned on them. Turning people in is a gutless coward move. There's no worse person than a stool pigeon. No worse person. That's why the mob kills them, right? Can't be trusted. What are you doing? You know, you can't be trusted. Can't be trusted. Can't be trusted. Can't be trusted. Never, ever, ever trust anybody like that. They have a low character. They don't believe that their own. They have no center. They have know the difference between right and wrong. So they try to curry favor from authority by turning other people in, and they think that's just going to get them by in life. When in actuality, they're just the people that they are talking to consider them weak and will kill them first. On this day in 1957, it was a good news day, which is features of our what is it? Mic drop moment. I can't think of words all of a sudden. On this day in 1957, American tennis player Althea Gibson became the first black player to win a women's singles title at Wimbledon. 1950, where in 1951, she was the first black player to compete at the tournament. Between 1956 and 1958, Gibson appeared in 19 major finals, including singles, doubles, and mixed doubles, and won 11 titles. She won the singles again at Wimbledon in 1958. Of course, Wimbledon had no restriction on color. They weren't like that. It was the United States problem because, hey, how many black tennis players in 1945 when she started, right, as a child? Yeah, how many? One, right? So it was basically her and then Arthur Ashe had to break the color barrier for men in the 70s. It took until then. We can't say African American because there's actually African Frenchmen that have played at Wimbledon. John Paul Jones was born on this day, 1947, in Scotland. He was a naval hero of the American Revolution. We're not talking about the bass player for Led Zeppelin. Renowned for his victory over British warships off eastern coast of England on September 3rd, 1779. No word on if he's actually related to John Paul Jones. Jones is a Welsh name, so it's kind of weird that he was Scottish. Maybe his dad was running away from Wales. I don't know. 1886, the birthday of David Karp, American web developer and entrepreneur, 1986, not 1886. Did I say 18? Hilary Mantel, British writer at 1952. Wojciech Witold Jaruzelski, Polish general, born in 1923. And Sir Stamford Raffles, British colonial agent, born in 1781. Sir Stamford Raffles. I wonder if he invented the raffle. And that's it for birthdays. They've ruined that category for me. National Hand Roll Day. It's a sushi thing that looks like it's been rolled by a child with really bad arthritis. I don't know. It doesn't look like sushi to me. That's Hand Roll Day. National Fried Chicken Day. So it's about food today. Oh, and air traffic controller. You can probably get by with eating sushi at your desk as long as it's wrapped tight in that kelp. You know, what do they call that shit besides kelp? Seaweed. What do they call that wrap? It's got a name. A sushi name. Does it not?
In sushi?
Yeah.
Seaweed?
Anywho, that's everything for our mispronunciation. I already said seaweed. Our mispronunciations, our puns, our silliness, our jokes, me sweating profusely as it gets hotter and hotter in here. For Monday, July 6, 2026, on Before Fried Chicken and Hand Rolls. In that order.
That sounds.
Unless
Maybe you should have the hand roll first, I think.
Every appetizer. There you go. Dip it in wasabi and.
So it might be gimbap, which is like a Korean hand roll. It's not just Japanese. But that's probably due to Japan, to be honest.
Isn't it a song by Hanson? Oh, do you have a pun? Sorry. Before your time. Before your time.
I know the joke you don't have to explain it. I knew you were telling a joke.
Sorry. Okay.
It was gimbap.
All right, time for a pun that makes Homer laugh uncontrollably.
I was looking up tennis puns.
Yeah.
And they're all terrible. No, that doesn't make any sense. These are all gonna net no laughs, I think.
If you were born when Serena Williams won her first Wimbledon Williams, they might as well call it the Williams. When she won her first Wimbledon, if you were born in that year, you already graduated college because you're 24. And she's still, the Williams sisters still holding down women's tennis in America.
What's tennis's favorite song?
I don't know.
Hit me with your best shot.
Okay, let's do. Okay.
Wasn't that funny?
I know. No, it wasn't really.
A tennis test is always soft and underhanded.
Yeah, that's true. Is that the pun?
Yep. Okay. Underhanded for the underhand.
The underhand lob.
Why did the tennis player get a ticket?
For going 40 love? I don't know.
For double faulty parking.
None
of these are good. All right.
Why was the pedophile arrested?
Why?
For 15 love. For 15 love. There's your tennis joke.
Yeah, but okay. Anyways, our International Day observances
joke,
today.
Right? My pedophile joke, right? My pedophile joke in the first section. Remember? Anyway, sorry.
Our international observance today is World Rural Development Day. That's right. There's people who don't have roads and they don't have power, right? We talked about this last week, that there's new places in Africa that got more power so they could run stuff. 80% of the world's poorest people live in rural areas, earning less than $2.15 a day. 1 billion people face acute multidimensional poverty, as in there's multiple reasons they're poor, not just one. Over half of them are children. Half of the rural populations lack health coverage. I ain't gonna go to the doctor.
Yep.
Just spit on it. Versus the 22%
Don't you understand the
in
stock
urban
price?
areas.
That's what matters.
Funnily enough, family farms produce 80% of the world's food. Not factory farms, but family farms. Women make up 43% of the agricultural workforce, yet face barriers to land, credit, and tech. And rural areas sit on the climate front line. They're going to be the first people who are, their whole land's going to dry out. They're going to run out of water. Going to catch on fire. All the things that's bad because of climate change. And of course, a lot of people in the rural areas don't even have air conditioning, for example. So, dying of heat stroke during heat waves. There is your international observance for today. This has been Alison here from the Netherlands and Roger from the East Coast of the U.S. as we tie off a Mucking Fonday. I hope you had a good weekend, and if not, we'll give you some good news tomorrow on Good Tuesday News Day in order to give you hope in humanity again. If you're not already subscribed to the Before Coffee podcast on YouTube or following on Twitch or both, do both. You can check us. Please do that so the number goes up. More people will see us on their algorithm. If you want, comment, like the video, all of that stuff. Thank you everyone who was here today for this show and our Before Coffee supporters on Patreon. And here is our mic drop moment.
Althea Gibson Darvin is probably one of the outstanding tennis stars of all time. She turned to professional golf in 1963 and has made a good showing for herself. Althea's athletic skill and her marvelous sense of humor have endeared her to both golf fans and the girls on the tour.
Althea Gibson was the first African-American woman to play on the tour.
They never make you wear skirts. 100,000. Best thing about you're a woman, you gotta wear a skirt or whatever it is.
Twice, which was extraordinary.
They do have dress codes.
When she retired from tennis,
or like collars.
She decided she wanted
that's what
to
I
take
mean.
up professional
Men have to wear
golf.
pants.
U.S. and Wimbledon tennis champion Althea
Some courses
Gibson
make the
Darvin
caddies wear
into
shorts,
professional golf
so you can
now.
differentiate between a
And
player.
I don't know how she managed. I mean, how she managed even to play professional golf, I don't know. But to
I'm just saying
manage
it's nice that women's golf isn't like wear a skirt for what reason? Why do I need to wear a skirt for golf? It's all arms. There's no legs involved.
We were playing a tournament in Texas,
men
and they
compete
wouldn't
right
allow her in
alongside
the
women
clubhouse.
in
So
golf.
Lenny
They
Wirtz
do.
was our tournament director,
Not
and
in
all of us
active
decided
tournaments,
to
but in invitationals.
play that at that
So,
course and move
You
someplace
hit
else
the
where she
same
would be
tees as long as
accepted.
it's in the white ball. What's so
took care of each
complicated about it?
other, no matter
Nothing
what.
about a
I
man
mean, we
hitting the
didn't
ball
believe
that's
in
so
that.
much
We
better.
were.
He's just stronger
That's
and
what
hit
we were
farther.
fighting
There's
for
lots
was
of them that hit over
equality
300 feet
as
that are
women.
great cards.
In fact, we
It's so sad when
boycotted
it's always
3 tournaments because they wouldn't let Althea change her shoes. She'd had to change her shoes in the car. So finally, there were a couple of places that we did not play because of that. Baton Rouge was one of them.
we love women's
can all
solidarity.
This is indicative of a true champion. Those who can sustain, stay out there, and win championship after championship.
And when
Somebody in
Renee
the
Park
comments
came
said,
along,
they Dietrich Sings
Australia
Arias
was
broke
still
a barrier of like
unbelievably
she was a woman.
difficult for Renee, and she
She's
suffered
white,
a lot as
and
well.
She started the LPA.
I think there were a lot of
she didn't break
issues,
the barrier
certainly in
there.
our
And she
country.
started the tour. I
We
don't
have a lot of
understand what
racial
you're talking
issues.
about.
It's just somebody going, well, it's just what about us, right? What about this
Yeah,
hero? This isn't about her.
restaurants
This is a video
had
about this
problems
woman.
sometimes
Shut the fuck
trying
up.
to get to the
Yeah,
locker
Make a
room
video about her
various
and
clubs.
then post it.
My peers
Yeah,
on the
shut
tour
up.
He was great.
were
it's
they
great,
were
but that's
like a
irrelevant.
family. If
to
something
this, you know?
Yeah,
if there was
we're not
issues
talking about her
then
here.
they would always come to
This is a
my
Wendy's,
defense.
sir. This is a
That's one
Wendy's.
thing that the LPGA were very proud of. We
Right.
don't care what color you are or what you're accepted.
They don't care if you're a woman, which I'm sure is a problem now, too.
I was watching a thing about Jim Thorpe and how he played
struggle women in this country.
him and his
the
Indian
struggle
team
of-
beat the Army in
of
football
color in the
27-6.
country sort of run
you know,
parallel,
Army.
which is something that I
Eisenhower.
always sort of understood because
Could
I've
not.
been both. I am both.
Dwight
you know?
Eisenhower tried tackling.
You know, when I think about growing up and being Hispanic and being a female, there were times I
Speaking
couldn't
of
play at
minority
certain times.
sport.
And with respect to the men, I think it's, it was definitely a man's world back then.
They were pioneers in the really women's sports, not just golf, but women's sports. I mean, it really was the forerunner of all of women's sports.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.